Kiyotaka Ayanokoji joins the Tokyo Advanced Nurturing High School, a school for the very elite. Each school year consists of 4 classes ranked A to D, A being the best students and D being the worst. But this school bases its rankings not just on academic records but their own special tests that require a student's intellect, skill and cunning. The school adopts a point system that gives students incentives to earn them. Class points are earned every month based on the class's performance academically and in the special exams. If Class D were to earn more points than Class C, Class D would become Class C and vice versa. The students in the class cannot change, but the class's rank can. Class points are converted into private points for each individual student and are multiplied by a factor of 100. For example, if the class maintains 1000 class points for that month, each student in the class will earn 100,000 private points. And then 1 private point equals 1 yen, so in this example, each student would have 100,000 yen. Students can spend their private points on facilities on the island of which the school is based on. The island has everything one could need in society in terms of shops, cafes and so on. But private points can also be used any way the students want. They can be used transactionally should a student want to make a deal with another student, for example. The biggest reward my school ever gave us was a pencil with a rubber on the end and a packet of Haribo Star Mix if we were very lucky. Ayanokoji meets the frosty Suzune Horikita on his first day and they both become classmates in Class D. The students of Class D are handed a rule book, 100,000 private points, and told the school judges the students based on merit by their teacher Miss Chabashira. For the next month, most students spend their private points and take advantage of the school's lack of punishment for slacking off in class. Ayanokoji and Horikita are suspicious of this and so they are reserved in their private point spending. But after a month of slacking off, Class D students are shocked when they have 0 class points at the start of next month, and that is when they learn the truth of how the system really works and that poor behaviour and failed exams equal 0 class points and potential expulsion. From then on, everybody takes their studies seriously apart from Ken Sudo, who says he only cares about playing basketball. Next, midterms happen and everybody passes apart from Sudo despite Ayanokoji, Horikita and everybody's best friend Kikyo Kushieda's efforts to help him study. But this is an example of how private points can also be used. Horikita and Ayanokoji paid Miss Chabashira 10,000 private points to give Sudo the 1 exam score point he needed to pass because they didn't know the potential penalty for losing a class member to expulsion. Ayanokoji also bought an old exam paper from a student in a higher year that would have the same questions that would be on their exam for 15,000 private points and handed out the questions and answers to everybody in class, hence why they were all able to pass. But then, Sudo is involved in a fight with 3 students from Class C. They attack him first and he fights back in self-defense. However, due to poor reputation, he would be blamed if there was no other evidence and the whole of Class D would receive 0 points. The Class C students even go so far as to get classmate Kakeru Ryuen to beat them up to make them look like the victims. In order to find evidence of Sudo's innocence in the incident, Horikita appeals for witnesses and Ai Sakura from Class D comes forward, having witnessed it and carried a camera at the time, but then she drops her camera, Sakura the silly sausage. So Ayanokoji and Kushieda go along to the store with her to fix the camera and they discover Sakura has become an internet idol. Let's just hope she doesn't end up like Ai from Oshinoko. After ruling that the evidence wasn't sufficient, the President Manabu delays his final decision, giving Class D another chance to find further evidence to swing this situation in their favour. So Ayanokoji and Horikita create a setup for the 3 Class C students. They ask them to come to the stairwell where the incident happened. They plant fake security cameras that they claim would have seen the incident happen and would get them expelled for lying about the situation. So Horikita suggests that they should withdraw their complaint and then both sides would be off the hook. to which they agree, and so the incident is resolved. A while later, there is a class trip on a cruise liner for the entire first year students. At first it seems like a holiday, but they are soon taken to an abandoned island to begin their first special exam, which will be the Survival Island Arc. Each class is given 300 test points. These can be spent on food and any other conveniences they need, but whatever is left at the end of the test becomes class points. Here is a list of ways in which a class can lose points and gain points during the test. Whilst searching for a spot to occupy, Ayanokoji and Sakura see Class A's Katsuragi leave a cave, with the keycard in his hand alongside his classmate Totsuka, suggesting Katsuragi might be the camp leader of Class A. Meanwhile, the rest of Class D go out onto the island and find a spot near the river to occupy. They then agree upon Horikita becoming the camp leader, and so she secures the spot. They also agree upon a limit of spending 180 points, which would give them a guaranteed 2 meals per day. However, they soon have a setback when Koenji drops out of the test, resulting in minus 30 points. They then take in an injured stray, Ibuki from Class C, who has seemingly been abandoned by her class. Meanwhile, Ayanokoji and Horikita decide to scout out the other classes, finding Class B has a better location than them, Class C has spent all of their points and are having a holiday, and Class A are living in a secure cave. After a few days, after yet more scouting, Ayanokoji and Horikita discover that the entirety of Class C have dropped out of the test, apart from Ibuki. Then, whilst Horikita is distracted, Ibuki steals her keycard and calls Katsuragi via a secret radio found in the location buried where Class D found her, and it turns out Class C and Class A are working together all along after a meeting between Katsuragi and Ryuen. Horikita, having suspected Ibuki all along, confronts her but fails to retrieve the card and has to withdraw from the test due to illness, and Ayanokoji secretly becomes Class D's new leader. And then the test ends, and these are the results. Class C's strategy was to work together with Class A to find out the class leaders by planting people in other classes like Ibuki, but of course with the last minute change to Class D's leader, their score and Class A's score suffered. Meanwhile, whilst Class A and Class C were feeding each other incorrect information, Class B elected not to take the risk of guessing any class's leaders. Ayanokoji deduced Class A's leader when he saw Katsuragi and Totsuka at the start, thinking Katsuragi would be more cautious as to blatantly hold out the card in the open, so he deduced that the leader must be Totsuka. And then Ayanokoji decided not to guess Class B's leader to preserve a good relationship between them, but then he guessed Class C's leader Ryuen, because when they visited his camp, he noticed a radio next to where Ryuen was lay, and it was the same one that Ibuki had hid in the ground, so he concluded Ryuen must be still on the island despite the rest of the class withdrawing, and thus he must have been their leader. Ayanokoji was pulling the strings all along like a puppet master, and Class D wouldn't have won the exam without his quiet, tactical cunning, power of deduction, and quick thinking. On the boat ride home, Miss Chabashira tells Ayanokoji that his father wants him expelled and to return to the White Room. Subscribe to the channel to find out about the White Room and to get a recap of Season 2 as well.